Welcome to the deep dive. We're all about giving you that shortcut to being really well informed without feeling, totally overwhelmed. Today we're digging into yesterday's Diamond battles. It's basically a big recap of MLB action coast to coast, some really intense games in there. Our mission, really, for you listening, is to pull out the key insights. We're not just reading scores. We want to unpack what these results actually mean for the teams, their seasons, the whole MLB picture.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it, how just one single day of baseball can give you such a rich mix of storylines. We'll look at what happened, sure, but also why it matters for these teams, like where they might be heading. So, yeah, what's the impact on the league landscape? Let's get into it.
Absolutely. Let's kick things off with those teams that really made a statement, the dominant ones. Okay, let's start with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They really flexed their muscles, didn't they? A doubleheader sweep of the Oakland A's. Game one, Arizona's offense just exploded. 7 runs. It was a 7-2 win. They looked really disciplined at the plate, I thought, made those A's pitchers work. Then game two, it was closer, yes, 6-4, but the D-backs still got the job done. What did you see there that kind of tells us where they are right now?
Well, that sweep, it wasn't just about the 2 wins. It was how they won. Arizona jumped on Oakland's pitching mistakes, especially in game one. And then their bullpen, it really stepped up in those key moments in game two. It signals, I think, a growing maturity for the team. It wasn't just beating up on a struggling team. It showed a real strategic approach on offense that seems to be developing. That's pretty crucial.
Right, good point. And speaking of dominance, how about the Los Angeles Dodgers? A commanding 3-0 shutout over the Tampa Bay Rays. That was a pitching masterclass.
Oh, absolutely. That Dodgers shutout, I mean, their ace was just dealing pinpoint control, devastating off-speed stuff. They completely neutralized a Rays offense that, let's be honest, is known for its power.
Yeah.
Stringing hits together. So for Tampa Bay, this raises some questions. How do they generate offense against that really elite pitching when the home runs aren't flying? They need an answer for that.
Yeah, tough day for the Rays bats. Now, on the flip side, offensively, the Milwaukee Brewers, wow, they had the biggest blowout, a staggering 14-3 win against the Nationals. Their bats just wouldn't quit, scoring in multiple innings, just relentless pressure.
Yeah, that 14-run game, it wasn't just raw power, though. It showed like their whole offensive package. They had timely hitting, sure, but also aggressive base running. It kept the Nationals' defense scrambling. Now, okay, it was against a team that's had its struggles, but still, it shows you what the Brewers can do when everything clicks. That's a big confidence builder for them.
Definitely. And the San Francisco Giants, they weren't exactly quiet either. Routed the New York Mets 12-4. High-scoring game that really showcased the Giants' lineup depth.
It really did. The Giants just kept getting runners on base and, crucially, driving them in. Impressive stuff. But, for the Mets, that 12-4 scoreline, that's a big red flag for their pitching staff, particularly the bullpen maybe. Giving up a dozen runs, it suggests some underlying issues they need to fix, especially against a team that makes you pay for every single mistake.
Yeah, tough outing for the Mets pitchers. We also saw the Boston Red Sox with a pretty decisive 6-1 victory over the Houston Astros.
That felt like a statement win for Boston. Their pitching just silenced a really potent Astros lineup, limited their chances all game. And the offense did its job, provided that support. Good mix of contact and power hitting when they needed it. It's a balanced performance like that from Boston that makes you ask, okay, can they keep doing this? Especially against other top teams. Houston sometimes struggles against really strong pitching, so
right,
a key win for the Red Sox. So, okay, we've seen the blowouts, the dominant showings, but baseball, and as we always say, it's often a game of inches, right? Let's shift gears now. Let's talk about the nail-biters, the split series, the stuff that reminds you just how unpredictable this game is. Look at the Los Angeles Angels and Chicago White Sox. They split their doubleheader in a pretty spirited way. Game one was super tight, low scoring. White Sox won 1-0. But then, bam, game two, the Angels bats woke up, an 8-5 win.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway from a split like that?
Well, it just hammers home that day-to-day volatility, doesn't it? Baseball in a nutshell. The Angels bouncing back like that after a tough 1-0 loss, finding their offense in game two, that shows some resilience. But for both teams, really, the big question mark is consistency. Can the Angels keep hitting like they did in game two? And can the White Sox manufacture more runs when their pitching is, lights out like in game one? Good questions. And we saw a similar kind of back and forth with the St. Louis Cardinals and San Diego Padres. Traded wins in pretty compelling games. Cardinals took game one, 8-5. And the Padres answered right back, 7-3 in game two.
Yeah, those two games, they almost felt like maybe a playoff preview. Could be a rivalry heating up there. Both teams showed off serious talent, and you saw big momentum swings in both games. The Cardinals, in Game 1, got that timely hitting, solid start. Padres came back in Game 2, really unlocked their offense, especially clutch hitting with runners in scoring position. So it makes you wonder, right, down the stretch, whose bullpen holds up better or who gets that key hit. That could be the difference in a tight race.
Mm-hmm. Definitely one to watch. Now, the Atlanta Braves, they kept rolling. A hard-fought 4-2 win over the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, that was a classic grinded-out win for Atlanta. That's really the sign of a contending team, isn't it? They won by executing in those high-leverage spots. Bullpen came in and slammed the door late, even after maybe a few bumps earlier. It just shows their resilience, their knack for closing out tight ones. You absolutely need that for a postseason push.
Crucial skill. Over in the AL Central, the Minnesota Twins got a narrow 5-4 win against the Cleveland Guardians. Close divisional battle, lead changes, intense game.
Oh, yeah, that Twins win was huge within the division. A real back-and-forth kind of slugfest. Getting that win, especially the way it happened with the lead changes, that sends a bit of a message to Cleveland. It's the type of game that can really build momentum in a tight race like that, shows their grit, executing under pressure.
Definitely. And quickly, we also saw the Seattle Mariners squeak by the Texas Rangers 5-4, another tight AL West game. And the Chicago Cubs got past the Baltimore Orioles 5-3 in interleague play.
Both tough, hard-fought wins. That Mariners-Rangers game, classic divisional stuff. Every pitch mattered. Seattle just made maybe one more play in the clutch. And the Cubs-Orioles, that interleague matchup, the Cubs found ways to capitalize on their chances against a good Orioles team. Shows they can grind out wins, even against teams they don't see often. Really highlights how important timely hitting and clean defense are in these one-run games.
Absolutely. Okay, so beyond the clear wins and the tight contests, yesterday also gave us some real surprises. Results you maybe didn't see coming. Adds that drama, right? That parody we love. How about the Miami Marlins? Pulling off a pretty significant upset over the New York Yankees, winning 7-3. Strong performance all around. What stood out to you there?
An upset like that, especially against the Yankees, it really does underscore the parity in the league right now. Anybody can beat anybody on a given day. The Marlins didn't just sneak by. They kind of controlled the game from the middle innings onward, executed their plan, got those big hits with runners on. For the Yankees, yeah, that's a setback. A clear reminder that you got to bring it every single night. Even the top teams, they'll need to regroup, find more consistency, especially offensively against teams maybe they underestimate.
Good point. We also had the Kansas City Royals getting a 7-4 win over the Toronto Blue Jays. Interleague action there, too.
That Royals win, it really came down to timely hitting and just a solid enough pitching effort. They managed to hold off that dangerous Blue Jays lineup, especially when it mattered most. And then their own hitters delivered the key blows to break it open. It's a nice boost for the Royals, shows they can hang tough. And for the Blue Jays, well, it points to needing maybe a bit more consistency, especially against NL teams they might not be as familiar with.
Right. And one more Coors Field doing Coors Field things. High-scoring game, Pittsburgh Pirates outslugged the Colorado Rockies 9-5.
Yeah, no surprise there, right? Thin air in Denver usually means runs. Offense was definitely the story. The Pirates just proved a little more potent that day, kept the line moving, got runners on, brought them home. Wasn't exactly a pitcher's duel, but hey, it showed the Pirates can take advantage of a hitter's park and put up a crooked number. So when you step back and look at this whole slate, the dominant wins, the really tight games, these surprising upsets, what's the big picture takeaway about MLB right now? It just really highlights the excitement, doesn't it? And the sheer unpredictability of baseball, how volatile things can be from one game to the next. So much can change in 24 hours.
Yeah, it really does. So tying this all together for you, the knowledgeable fan, yesterday's games, they gave us this really captivating snapshot of where the league is right now. We saw, the D-backs sweep, maybe signaling they're getting more competitive. That Angels-White Sox split, underlining how unpredictable single games are.
Yeah.
And Cardinals-Padres hinting at maybe a rivalry brewing.
Right. And if you zoom out slightly, you see the Dodgers' pitching dominance, the Brewers' offensive firepower reminds you there are different ways to win consistently. Meanwhile, those close wins, like for the Braves and Twins, that shows that ability to just grind out victories. That's so important for the long haul. And then the upsets. Marlins over Yankees. That splash of surprise, it just proves the parity across the league. On any given day, truly anything can happen.
Absolutely. These games, they offer really valuable clues, right? About team performance, who's hot, who's not, and storylines to keep an eye on for the rest of the season. It's like a little miniature version of the whole MLB narrative unfolding, drama, excitement, and that constant chase for a win.
So, thinking ahead as the season keeps going, Which specific results or maybe emerging rivalries from just this one day do you think will end up having the biggest impact on the standings? On that ultimate race for the World Series, it's definitely something to chew on.
Keep digging, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.